Welcome to the latest episode of The Pulse of East Providence with Mayor Bob DaSilva. You know, our administration tries to use all means of communication to get the message out to the community about some of the great things happening in East Providence and around the state that benefit our residents. Today, I'm super excited to have with us our very own General Treasurer, James Diossa, to talk about some of the great programs that run out of his office that can benefit you directly in the pocket. So let's talk to our good friend James Diossa.
Yeah,
thank you for being here, General Treasurer.
It's great to have you, Mayor, and be here with you. And finally made the spot on your show. I'm excited about that.
I know you've been super busy, but before we get into all the great things you're doing as General Treasurer, I love to have my guests have an opportunity to talk about themselves. And I want you to go way back.
Yeah.
Like, how did James Diossa get to be General Treasurer? Tell me about your childhood, where you grew up, your background. Tell me about the time you served as mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. So my family immigrated from Colombia in the early 70s, early 80s. And they settled in Central Falls, made Central Falls their home. I grew up there, went through the whole public school system. I graduated, went off to college. I was hoping to be in law enforcement someday, whether at the local or federal level. And Obama ran for office and really inspired this whole idea of going back into my community and helping out, making things better. And so, you know, my thought was, you know, I'll go to law school, get a law degree. But during that time, I took an internship with United States Senator Sheldon Whitehouse here in Providence. And in one of those experiences in his office, I came across an article that said that the elections were opening up in Central Falls. And so I decided to run for city council. I beat out an incumbent by 17 votes.
Every vote counts.
Yeah, every vote counts. Served on the council for about almost 3 years. The city, as you know, went through bankruptcy. The mayor got indicted on corruption charges, went to jail, opened up the office of the mayor, and I decided to run for mayor at 27.
Now, how old? Well, no, 27 is young. How old? So you must have been, what, 23 when you first got elected, which is a young age, and you became involved in city politics.
Became involved.
And then you served 2 terms, right?
2 terms as mayor, yes. So I got to oversee a lot of the transition out of the bankruptcy that started while I was on the city council. And so we were able to do a lot of great things and build great community alliances, great municipal partnerships with Lincoln, Cumberland, North Providence, and Pawtucket. We were able to bring on generational change through a new train station that connects our residents to the job and education world of the north and south of Rhode Island. And we were able to not only upgrade infrastructure, make the city cleaner, safer, look better, more attractive, but I think it's one of the hot spots of Rhode Island. The real estate's hot, people are investing in Central Falls, and we are lucky enough to be part of that process of change.
I was fortunate enough to take a tour of the new train station. I was there for the grand opening, and what an incredible partnership between you, Pawtucket, and all of the federal partners that came together to make that a reality.
Absolutely.
And it's really transforming that. You know, as a former police officer, I did 25 years working for the city of Pawtucket and the residents of Pawtucket. And that was always an area where that train station is now that had its challenges, right?
Absolutely.
There was always some issues happening around there. But that train station, with the vision that you had to make that become a reality, it's really transformed that. Let me ask you now, before we get into more personal background information, you know, as mayor, I've learned so much. You know, this is my 2nd term. You learn so much about what's involved in municipal government. What was some of your biggest challenges, you think, during that time that when you were running? When you were running a city?
So I think the biggest challenge was that, you know, when I took office, we were still in the bankruptcy proceedings, and so there wasn't really anywhere to go to try to get some guidance of how to, you know, guide the city out of bankruptcy, how to rebuild, et cetera. So we had to learn very quickly and fast, but also, you know, the challenges of being a young 27-year-old, and you know, I was very new from the perspective of managing people, from understanding that, you know, my police chief was twice my age and now he was taking orders from me. So there were many challenges from a leadership perspective that I had to learn very quickly. But more importantly, as you know, being mayor, you're on the front lines for everything, and you care, right? You care because you, as the chief executive of the city, see the immediate impact that your policy, that your budgets, that your actions have on the people. And so that to me was the most rewarding piece of it, because to be able to improve someone's life is, I can't define the excitement and happiness that comes with you being the government of the city and trying to make things better.
No, I have to agree with you 100%. Being able to affect positive change on the community is part of the most rewarding. It is the most rewarding part of this job that people have entrusted us with, right? So let me ask you about your partner in life, Senator Sandra Cano.
Yes.
When did you meet her, and can you tell us how she's doing?
Yeah, she's doing great. So we met back when I had just recently got elected on the city council in Central Falls, and we met through a mutual friend who was also running for office, and we were both very active in not so much the idea of becoming involved in politics, but being part of that process of change. And again, a lot of it was inspired by then President Barack Obama. And so, I was able to meet her, encourage her to run for school committee. She ran for city council after, and now she's in the state senate, and she's done incredible jobs. And she has unique experience too, being at almost every level of government in Pawtucket. So I've learned a lot from her, and now that we have two little ones, a 4-year-old daughter and a 9-month-old boy, I think that that's a whole different life lesson that has come upon us, and we're excited.
Listen, I was happy and honored to help you campaign when you ran for general treasurer, and I remember some of the most impactful interactions with the community was when that little Ariana was present. She's so adorable, and people absolutely loved her. So congratulations on both your beautiful children.
Yeah.
And I know you used to play soccer back in the day, right?
I love it.
And
Still
I'm a
do.
big soccer fan.
Still do.
You still do?
I still do.
You're going to have to somehow fit in soccer coach in your dad role.
Yes.
You know that at some point.
Yes.
So
it's embedded. There's no questions about missing any type of activities for them. And it would be most rewarding, right, selfishly, if my daughter or son took up soccer as fervently as I did. That'd be really cool. But they get all the choices in the world. They pick what they want.
You can only make it available to
exactly.
them. And they decide choosing. I mean, look, my youngest son just turned 18. I'm now the parent of 2 adult boys.
I know.
And I'm still enjoying watching him play. He's a senior at East Providence High School. And it's some of my most rewarding and memorable times was being a coach to him when he was 5 years old. And those memories stay with you forever, and hopefully with the children and your kids. So I think it's wonderful that you brought Ariana around. I think she's such an adorable young lady.
Yeah.
And really, what a personality she has on her. And I think she could be a future leader someday.
Yeah.
She's got mom who's the state senator, dad who's a general treasurer. I think we see a bright future for her someday and some leadership potential.
God willing.
But let's talk about some of the stuff that's been in the news recently. I know you had a press conference and put out a press release regarding the partnership with Washington Trust. Kind of explain to the public what's going on with that whole situation.
Yeah, the Department of Justice came down with a consent decree with Washington Trust over activity that they were doing regarding redlining in the communities of Central Falls, Pawtucket, and some areas of Providence. And the state of Rhode Island is one of their depositors in their bank. We have about close to over $180 million, and I felt, frankly, coming from these communities and seeing the challenges for our folks to be able to open up a business because of lack of resources, or be able to assume a home ownership opportunity because of how difficult it is for someone to get a mortgage, that this, to me, was important to highlight, not only as a person who grew up in Central Falls and have seen the struggle firsthand, but also understanding that it's in the state's best interest that everyone be treated equally and have the same opportunities. And so we've been able to work very closely with Washington Trust. We've been able to not only learn from each other, but work collaboratively. And I think it's going down a good path. And I think that the leadership there is very strong on wanting to address some of the things that we brought forward, such as diversifying their leadership team, their board, getting into these communities and promoting their products more. And they've been really good to partner with, and I'm excited about what's to come.
I mean, I'm with you on this 100%, that a pathway to home ownership is a pathway to financial independency, right? So when those people who need more, they're probably in more need than anybody else of having an opportunity to come out of poverty, to come out of a situation that it may not be ideal for them, and then to have policies that redline, that keeps these people down, right? It keeps people down who need an opportunity. So I'm glad to see that this your office is working closely with them to bring more opportunities to people who have been shut out of the process. Now, I know that Washington Trust did not admit to any liability, but there was a $9 million settlement, right? From what I understand. And some of those funds will be used for what exactly?
Yeah, they advertising, financial literacy, opening up branches in some of these communities. Again, I think the most important point to drive here is that there is a commitment, there's a partnership, and I'm excited that there's a new relationship being developed and going down the right path. And you're going to see, I think, much more activity from them on every front, and so they'll be much more visible in these communities.
One of the biggest things that you're responsible for as General Treasurer is our pension system,
yes.
Right? Most municipalities, for those people who are not aware, are involved in the Municipal Employees Retirement System, the MERS, they call it. And you're responsible to make sure that the money in that system is invested properly and brings back the greatest return. Can you talk about, I understand we're doing great, we're doing well with the way you've set these investments up. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, knowing firsthand that one of the reasons why Central Falls went into bankruptcy was because the pensions weren't being funded correctly, and to see the end product, which was the cuts that the retirees received because of the mismanagement of the pension fund, puts me front and center on wanting to be the best steward and the best fiduciary for this fund. And so yes, I give credit, strong credit, all the credit to our state investment team, who's been on par with their decisions, and more importantly, they've been very transparent with the state about how our returns have been. And most importantly, I think that I want to be able to highlight that our fund is 60% funded today. We want to get to 80% funded, which is out of critical status by 2030, and I think we're on the right path. We hope to get there by that time frame, and so that's a big win for not only the actives in the fund, but the retirees, but the state as a whole.
Ultimately, we want retirees and those currently working for the municipal governments throughout the state, not only just municipal government, state pension, you also manage that. You want them to know that all of their hard work and all of their investment in their pension is going to be there for when they retire.
Correct.
I know that's one of the biggest challenges. We have a private pension here for our police and fire, and that's one of our greatest concerns. We make sure we make our annual required contribution annually. We don't play games with that, and we've year over year increased the amount of contribution. But according to what I have here for my notes, as of June 30, 2023, the Employee Retirement System of Rhode Island has $10.5 billion in it. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a big fund.
That's a big fund, and it looks like 8.9% net investment results. And the other thing that you're responsible for is the other post-employment benefits.
Correct.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely, and it's a big thing that municipalities are adopting. The state has been very good in supporting and funding, and that's the other elephant in the room. I know we always talk about pensions, but other post-employment benefits are expensive. They're not at the center of many conversations when it comes to, issues happening in whether municipalities or different levels of government. And the fact that the state has done a good job of funding this well shows their leadership as to addressing the issue that could someday be a big problem for some municipalities, et cetera. But like I said, we're on the right path with OPEB, doing well, funding it correctly, and again, kudos to the team for staying on track.
One of the other responsibilities of the General Treasurer's Office, of course, is the Crime Victim Compensation Program. Not many people are aware of it. I am intimately familiar with the program because of my prior law enforcement career, and I saw how it helped many victims in the past. It's important to share with our community what that program is all about and how people can get involved. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's one of the programs that I think has benefited many Rhode Islanders that under the unfortunate circumstances have had to reach out for support. And I don't think this program has yet reached a level of awareness around the state, so I appreciate the opportunity to come on the show and talk about it. It's a program that funds families under circumstances that have caused any type of disruption. So whether it's a murder, a domestic violence abuse, we're able to cover cleanup costs, as you know, funeral, any type of any other remedies of like moving costs in case they have to move out of their homes for a certain time. And so this program is one that we continue to promote with our police departments and many of our advocacy groups because, again, it's a few $1,000s that can go a long way under those circumstances.
And I mean, according to the notes I have here, up to $25,000 in reimbursement to Rhode Islanders who fall victim of crime. And it even also covers loss of earnings. So if you happen to be a victim of a crime and you can't work for a week or two or whatever happens, loss of earnings is also reimbursable. So it's important for people to know that this program exists. What is the website where, if I wanted to find this, what website would I go to?
Yeah, go to our website, which is the Rhode Island General Treasurer's website, and there you'll be able to see on the menu Crime Victims Program. And we've been able to get the opportunity to promote this through many avenues. But more importantly, I think our police departments should have that listed so that they can call upon at any moment for any service and support.
And would they apply directly to your office,
correct,
right? And they just have to provide evidence and proof of their loss. Well, listen, I know I've had the opportunity to deal with this kind of situation in the past, and it's a program that really has helped people who are down and out because of a terrible incident that may have happened to them. So I
know there's families who are stuck in a domestic violence situation and they don't have the ability to find a temporary space, and this will allow them to request some funding to be able to move out safely and out of the perpetrator's hands. So I think it's a fund that unfortunately it's necessary to have, and we try to ensure people that we want to make this process as less cumbersome as possible, so that in a moment of difficulty, they're not having to deal with paperwork after paperwork. We try to streamline it as best as we can.
And I understand it's funded. Is it funded through penalties and fines through the court system, right? So offenders, who get found guilty, they're the ones that are helping to fund this.
Correct.
I mean, they're part of that pool of money that goes in there to help the victim compensation
and
program.
Our congressional delegation, as always, delivering. Senator Reid in White House and Congressman Magaziner was able to get us a grant of over $600,000 into the fund. So we're going to be able to help out more families.
That's wonderful. That's great news. That's great news. Now, throughout the year, whenever there's like public events, I'm walking around and I see, people from your office with a little tent set up, unclaimed funds.
Yeah.
Talk to me about unclaimed funds.
Oh, it's one of the more exciting programs of Treasury. We have a great team who work hard to reunite lost property or lost funds with their rightful owners. And these are funds that, you know, we would never think about, right? We overpaid on our insurance plan, or we left some money in a bank account that we forgot about and it closed up, or we might have paid extra on a lease and just never remembered about it. And so we've been very active on that front, and we've been able to work with municipalities too to get money or property back to its rightful owners. And we did a little tour this summer. We went to Cumberland, North Providence, and reunite a few $1,000s back to the municipality, again, for overpayments and things like that. But more importantly, you know, a lot of people, you know, that I approach about this program, like, I don't have any dollars there. There's nothing I have. We had an instance about a few weeks ago where, you know, we had the same situation. A constituent said, oh, I don't think I have any money. They went to go check. They had a few $100. So I would say that you can go on our website as well, be able to look up your information. It's another very easy process, and we'll cut that check out right away and deliver it back to you.
So interesting. I know you mentioned, because I see you using social media to communicate to the public. I know you use all means of communication as well as anyone out there. One of our staffers saw one of your posts about how you got money back to one of the other municipalities, and she's like, hey, let me check for East Providence. And lo and behold, it was like $6,000 that was sitting in the treasury, in the general treasurer. So we were able to get that money back.
Good.
And then I checked my son, and I found out he's got some money in there. There was a bank account that he had with his birthday money, and we forgot that it was there. I guess what happens is, so explain this to people. Sometimes if you have an account and it goes inactive for a certain amount of time, that money then gets transported over to...
Every year, the company or whoever is custody of the funds has to report by law that their funds are being remitted back to the state because of a closed account, or they haven't been able to connect with the owner of the funds or the owner of the property. And so that's how one of the ways it ends up back into the state's custody. But that's interesting. See, yeah. A prime example.
I'm telling you, I never realized that. So it's important for people to realize, even as a business, you know, you could check your name in there to see if you're a business that may have some money out there that should be coming your way. I had never thought that a municipality would have a way of checking the system and finding that there was outstanding funds that belonged in the city coffers. And I really think that a lot of people don't, I like that you do a lot of outreach on this. I think a lot of people are not aware of how this system works. And I was shocked to find that my own son had some money that needs to, by the way,
didn't tell him, by the way.
I gotta finish up the paperwork and get it over to your office. But I checked it, just recently saw it. I gotta get the paperwork over to you. And yes, he had a little account that we had set up for him when he was a kid, and that's where his birthday money went, right?
Oh, okay.
And then all of a sudden, we forgot about it, and I guess it was like a year or 2 years with no activity. It gets sent over to the General Treasurer's office. So it's important for people to know. If you get anything from this interview, this great opportunity to hear directly from the General Treasurer, is that check that website, check to see if there's any unclaimed funds, because you may have money that's rightfully yours being held right now by the state of Rhode Island. And also, if you are a victim of a crime of violence, or if you are in a domestic violence situation, you know, I never had really thought about what you had said, General Treasurer, about using those funds to be able to escape your abuser.
Correct.
I didn't realize that you could do that.
Some people are trapped because they just can't afford to move out or go into a hotel space. And you know, sometimes those circumstances lead to deadly outcomes, and we want to avoid that as much as possible.
Well, I know that later today, by the time this airs, it would have passed already, but we have, not today, maybe tomorrow, I think there's a Hispanic Heritage Month event going on. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's you know, it's my first year in office, and being of Hispanic descent, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month at the State House. And we're inviting the local artists, local music groups. We're gonna have food from many restaurants. It should be a good time. You know, I invite the residents of East Providence to participate, join us, and get to do some salsa or merengue and enjoy the culture a little bit.
You know, it's wild to see, you know, because my parents, they immigrated to this country from Portugal, right? And our stories are very similar.
Very.
You know, our parents wanted to give their children better opportunities and their grandchildren better opportunities. And what you're seeing here in the state is that the Hispanic population is growing, and they're becoming very engaged in local government, in politics, which is important. It gives everybody a voice. So we just had our event yesterday. And next year we hope to make it a bigger and better event, and we hope that you'll be able to join us.
Yes, absolutely.
So we'll send out the invite to you and Senator Kano.
And my daughter is dancing in one of the you know, cultural groups, and
oh, that's awesome.
so we'll bring them over to East Providence.
That'd be wonderful. So, General Treasurer, is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you may want to talk about?
No, I think that, you know, I want to really highlight the work that you've done in East Providence. I've said this many times. You know, what a transformation it's been since there's been a mayor in East Providence. You know, the advocacy that you do, the projects that have come online. And I guess I take a different you know, emotion towards it because I was a former mayor, and I see through you how excited you get, and seeing all the development that's happening in East Providence only benefits the whole state of Rhode Island. So I want to give you kudos for that. And as you know, the General Treasurer is a former mayor, so I always will be an ally and a partner to your office and to you. And if there's any program that can benefit your residents, I'm a phone call away.
Well, thank you. Well, listen, we've had the opportunity to hear directly from our very own General Treasurer, James Diossa. There's a lot of great programs that he mentioned on this show today. We're going to have it posted throughout the show with the website so that you can go and access this and see if there's a program here that may be able to help you. Now, I do want to remind the public that we have a great Veterans Day event coming up on November 11th at 10 a.m. at the Flight of Flags on Veterans Memorial Parkway. We hope that you'll be able to join us there. It's always a wonderful event where we sit there and honor all of our veterans. And once again, I want to thank our General Treasurer for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And you just spent some time with the Mayor of East Providence, on the pulse of East Providence with the Mayor of East Providence. Thank you.
Yeah.